born into one of the 13 Illuminati bloodline families. He was born into witchcraft and was always a witch until God got his attention and he was born again. He was high up on the Luciferic ladder. Before being saved, he was on the Council of 13, directly under and answering to the Rothschilds. Once he was saved, he began to go around to the churches and share what he knew. Listen to what he shared about how wicked all of today's music is, and I want you to get a hold of that word, all. There isn't any that gets a pass, all. Listen to this.
Now that's one group. Rolling Stones. Mick Jagger has told openly, over and over on television, I don't know where our Christian young people were when it was going on, that when he was in jail before the Stones was ever formed, he sold his soul to the devil. That's impossible, but he did it anyway. He sold his soul to the devil to become the leading rock group in the nation, plus get out of prison. He is the leading rock group in the nation, in the world. He has wrote songs praising the devil. And I know the devil gave it to him because the devil always thinks on himself. And in one song that Jagger wrote, he said, "It's not that I fool you who I am." Everybody knows who the devil is. It's the nature of my game that's confusing you. And this is the way it is with Satan. See, we've got a little set of rules that Satan's supposed to obey, but he don't obey it. It's like the Illuminati. They own countries. They don't pick sides in a war. They cause a war and put both countries against each other, even though both countries belong to them. They don't have sides. They have a purpose. Satan has every religion except that which is under the blood of Jesus. That's where the confusion of the game is. We try to rationalize things good or bad, and we can't do that. We rationalize things Jesus or the devil. That's where you draw the line. But Jagger over and over, and that goes with rock music too. Don't try to rationalize it's good or bad. It's bad. Now, I want to give you an incident that will kind of sum it up. I did meet most of them. Most of them were in the occult, but most of them were on drugs. Now, I want to say something real quick here. How many remember a group called Bloodstone, or Blood Rock, I think it was? DOA, the song DOA. They did the song while they were on acid. They got the words. I talked with a guy, he said a demon, well, he didn't call it a demon, he called it the spirit of this girl that he knew that had died in a car accident. It was a demon impersonating the girl. Appeared to him and gave him during this acid trip the notes, the words, and everything. They filed it with a copyright lawyer. The day after the copyright lawyer filed it, another group came in that was well known at that time and filed the same song, note for note, word for word. And when I was in the occult, I thought it was interesting enough to check it up because I wrote for an occult newspaper and I put the story in the paper. They got it the same way. On an acid trip, the same night, from a demon imitating a spirit of somebody they had known that had died. Most rock musicians get their music while on drugs or from spirit guides, which are demons. That's what your young people are buying and paying for. Now, I'll give you something supernatural you can file away if you don't want to receive it or take it home and get in the Word and see if it's possible. When witches write a book, they cast a spell over the book so it'll sell. And they order a demon to go into every copy that comes off the press. So when you own a book on witchcraft, you have a demon residing in your home, free of charge. The musicians who do the music that are in witchcraft do the same things to the record album. The same thing. So when you see that friendly little album singing on your thing, ask yourself, was the musician a witch? Did he cast a spell over the album that the devil would have a pact in my home because I owned the record? There's more to it than records and books. And this morning, you remember I gave the text and I meant to get into this then because it fits the text. Your warfare is not physical, it's spiritual. And every Christian should memorize Ephesians 6:12 and stand on it. Look beyond what you see with these. And look and know that the devil has got, thousands and thousands of years of experience. And unless we think with the mind of Christ, he's going to walk all over us. And that's why you stay under the blood. A young man came up and asked me today, can a witch cast a spell on a Christian? He can cast it on any Christian that's not living the life. If you want to fence straddle, you're a wide open target for any witch in the world. If you want to stay under the blood, and you want to walk the line and be within the Word and within the Spirit of God, and wear the full armor of God, then you're going to be fine. Well, I think all of us know what it means when we come to church and sit in the service and then go out and live like the devil all week long and think we're immune to anything of the devil. If you're going to live in his territory, you're going to live here, and that includes the rock music. I go along on that question, but I cannot miss through rock music. The main reason that young people go into witchcraft today is through the music. As I've told people, rock music didn't come out with Elvis Presley. It's thousands of years old. If you take it away, witches can't do witchcraft. They can't function without the music. It's a third of their power. You think about it. Many modern churches know who their source of power is.
What's a charismatic? Okay. A charismatic, let's put it this way, a charismatic movement, the charismatic movement to the outside people is the movement that declares the speaking of tongues. Okay? That is separate from the Pentecostal denominations and churches. Most people do not realize that the Pentecostal churches are not part of the charismatic movement. In fact, many of them oppose it. Alright? The charismatic movement in reality was one of three steps declared back in 1964 to do two things. While the main function was to destroy the fundamental church of any type. Alright? The Masons was one, and the charismatic church was another. Okay? And then the political maneuvers was the third. Now, most people, they get caught up in the charismatic movement. They don't stand back and watch it. It has two distinct signs wherever it goes. If it isn't a fundamental church, it splits it every time. I've never seen any fundamental evangelical church stay the same after it came there. And the other thing it does is it unites all the liberal churches. It has brought the Catholics, the Lutherans, and the Mormons, even the Mormons, the Methodists, the Episcopalians, Presbyterians, everybody together. Now, I'm going to make some quotations. See, I'm not a charismatic, I admit it. But I'm not a Baptist either, so don't say I'm saying it because I'm a Baptist. I'm against it. I'm against it for one reason. I was on the Council of 13 and had to pay too many millions of dollars out to that organization to accept that it be of God and its leaders, since I know most of its leaders by first name basis. They used the charismatic movement to establish Jesus Rock. I had to deliver a $4 million check that was the second $4 million check that Chuck Smith, that created Calvary Chapel and Maranatha Productions, received from the Illuminati. And he knew it was Illuminati money before you go out of here and say that he didn't. The purpose of it was to build Maranatha Industries and Productions, which started Jesus Rock. Back when the Christian church was preaching against rock music, not knowing why, but preaching against it just the same, and throwing it out the churches, that scared the Illuminati and the occult world to death. At that time, they almost thought their end had come. Because if that really happened within the Christian church would have the biggest mass revival of souls in the United States that this world has ever seen. That's the purpose for rock music, to make sure that that never takes place. Now, okay, let me finish all this, because it's long, before any hands come rushing up. When that took place, they got scared. So they got smart, they thought, and they built Jesus Rock. And you can take some of the top Jesus Rock songs, and you can play the same rock songs over here, and it's the very same tune with new words stuck in. Now, I want to give you a key that witches know about. Okay? The sign of the devil's music, as they say, of Lucifer's music, is not the words. It's the music. The power is in the music. The sign of Christian music is not the music. It's the words. That's why one song written by a group will catch on and will bless Christians' hearts, and others won't. Have you ever wondered why the Gaithers are the #1 group in the United States? It's not because they sing great. It's because the songs they write and the power in those songs. Now, I know from being in the occult world the power in music. And I'm saying all this because I was the leader of Zodiac. I was going to get on this. I'm still taking care of yours at the same time. Somebody asked me about rock music, but I'll do it this way. The thing about rock music was I was the leader of Zodiac Productions, which is the conglomerate that owns almost all of the rock booking agencies and production of concerts in the United States. Almost 95% of the groups that you hear in concert belong to contract to Zodiac Productions. Most of the friends that I have that are still in the world are friends that I met in the rock industry of people whose albums you buy today. doesn't produce rock music to entertain you. They don't produce rock music to make money. They don't need that money. They own everything anyway. They do it to put demonic influence in your life. The music is a spell, and every witch knows it. That's why when somebody's saved out of the occult, and they say, to say, Pastor, what do I do? The pastor will go, well, burn everything that has to do with the occult. That's all the pastor says. And they'll bring in their rock records. Nobody has to tell them to do it. They were in witchcraft. They know what rock music is. Now, kids, I'm going to get you with this. Parents, don't pray that your kids throw out the rock music. It doesn't belong to them. It belongs to you. You are the head of the house, and although you think it belongs to them, according to God's word, everything in that house is yours. And you are the one that will face Jesus and say why you had it. The problem with Christians, particularly in a Baptist church, is that they don't realize that there's two judgments coming. One for the lost and one for the saved. And you will have to give account at the judgment seat of Christ for the things you didn't do and did do. You get it coming and going. So, if you think that you're keeping your kids from being rebellious by having the rock music in the home, have I got a surprise for you? They wouldn't be rebellious if you'd burn the stuff. So go home tonight and get rid of it. As I told the congregation last night, you can go home and count how many demons are in your home, or at least a minimum number by how many rock albums and 45s your kids have.
Right here. I'm going to use this, yes, just a minute.
Friday in chapel at school, you said people that were involved in Hollywood and music and things like that were somehow involved in witchcraft. Do you mean that they were actual practicing witches to be popular today, or did they just have to go along with it? And also, does that include things like all forms of entertainment, such as different parts of the country music and Broadway in New York and things like that?
Well, there's a scattering of it to country music. I guess probably the leader of it in country music is a man named Tom T. Hall. But in rock music, you must be an initiated witch, a coven member. That means you're a minister, okay? To be, and anybody in the last 2 years that's come on television must be an initiated witch. 3 of the major soap operas on TV have now made it a fact that to be a member of their staff, their television, actors and actresses on these 3 major soap operas, you must bear the scar of initiation to be on, okay? That's why the leading one, The Young and Restless, is so popular, okay? Now, if any of the new shows coming on, you can just check them off. Those people belong to a witchcraft or Satanist brotherhood somewhere, or they wouldn't be there, okay? And eventually they'll get all the older ones out that got in there, do different things you had to do back. You've always had to do something. You're not on television or in the movies because you're good. You're there because you paid a price, whatever the producer wanted from you. Now, it's witchcraft. In the early 70s and late 60s, it was homosexuality. And before that, it was the producer's couch and so on. Okay? But now it's witchcraft.